Today's movie starts with Joe, and we don't know if he's alive or dead. Suddenly, after a short time, he begins moving his eyes and body in a strange way, kind of like a zombie or someone addicted. Eventually, he wakes up and gets to his feet. Looking around, he finds himself in a pit full of many disfigured corpses. He's shocked and has no idea what happened to him. Suddenly, he sees a girl above the pit. He starts screaming at the top of his lungs for her to help him get out. The girl throws him a rope and leaves him alone. He finds a gun in someone's pocket and takes it, then climbs out of the pit. Once outside, he's shocked to find himself in a forest, in a place he doesn't know. He starts walking through the woods, very scared, and eventually finds a house. He hears voices inside, pulls out his gun, gets ready for a confrontation, and opens the door. Inside, he finds a group of people talking. He points his gun at them, and they respond by pulling out their own weapons. They start arguing about whether to keep him with them or kick him out. After they finish threatening him, everyone starts threatening each other, blaming one another for the deaths of the people outside. The shocking part is that none of them know each other or how they got there. Joe tells them that when he woke up, he found himself in a pit full of bodies and doesn't remember anything, not even his name. He explains that the Asian girl was the one who threw him the rope and helped him out, which makes them very angry at her, saying they don't know anything about her and that he could be a danger to them. Suddenly, one of them falls to the ground, screaming loudly and having convulsions. A girl in the group tries to help him, and everyone is shocked, not knowing what to do. Joe asks what's going on and what's wrong with the man on the ground, but nobody has an answer. The man says he doesn't remember anything, not even his name. Everyone says they don't remember anything, don't know why they are here, or why there are so many corpses. They explain that there are no computers or phones and that they can't contact anyone to save them. Later, they show their ID cards, which have their names and photos. A girl tries to explain the situation. The blonde girl tells them that her name is Sharon, the other boy is named Michael, the man who was holding the rifle is named Lux, and the man on the ground is named Nathan. As for the girl and Joe, they don't have any documents to learn information about the others. Additionally, the Asian girl doesn't speak. After that, she writes very strange letters that they cannot understand. They ask her why she saved them and pulled them out of the pit. Everyone says that she can hear them but cannot speak, and she doesn't understand the language they are speaking. It's clear that this girl knows everything and understands exactly what happened because she was the first to wake up and save them all. Afterward, they search the house, hoping to find anything that might help them understand what's happening. Joe and Nathan enter a room and find a calendar hanging on the fridge, with a mark on the 18th. They conclude that something important will happen on that day, though they don't know what exactly. They also realize that it's currently the 16th, meaning there are 2 days left before this event occurs. Later, we see Lucas and the Asian girl with injection marks on their arms. The girl tries to help them understand and convey what she knows. Lucas doesn't understand what she's trying to say. Meanwhile, Mike finds a large collection of weapons and takes them all. Sharon then takes Joe to the bathroom, telling him he needs to shower and clean himself. Joe recalls some memories from the past but can't understand their meaning or remember his name, or what will happen on the 18th in 2 days. Suddenly, the Asian girl causes a commotion and runs into the forest. The group follows her to see where she's going, leaving Michael and Son at the house. Son finds a large desk and discovers he can read Latin and understand all the medical terms in the books. Michael realizes he's good with weapons and can hit targets from a distance. Joe and the others keep searching for the Asian girl in the forest. Suddenly, they find a body tied to a tree with barbed wire in a gruesome way. They realize there are many other bodies as well. They hear a woman screaming and find her inside a small cabin with the Asian girl, who gives her food. When the woman sees Joe, she attacks him, blaming him for what happened to her daughter. Joe hits her on the head with a rifle, and she falls to the ground. There's a surveillance camera in the cabin, indicating there's a control room they need to reach. The next day, the rest of the group returns to the forest to find a way out, leaving Michael and the Asian girl at the house. Michael hears a man screaming for help, leaves the Asian girl alone, and goes into the forest. He finds the man tied with barbed wire, bleeding from all over. He tries to save him, but the man suddenly attacks him and strangles him. The rest of the group finds a large pile of tree branches. Underneath, they discover 2 cars. Lucas sees a photo in one of the cars showing everyone except Jihad, which shows that they know each other well. Suddenly, the Asian girl comes to them, and they realize Michael is in danger. When they reach him, he is bleeding heavily. They try to stop the bleeding and save him, but unfortunately he dies. Joe and Sharon get in the car and start searching the forest. In the end, they find a huge abandoned building with the number 18 written on the wall. They begin exploring the place. Suddenly, Sharon sees a small child running in front of her, so she runs after him. The child is very scared and hides in a storage room. Joe tries to get the child to open the door, but he refuses. We discover that the child knows the South. They call him by name and tell him he has to walk with them because tomorrow, during the attack, he'll reveal his real name. Joe tries to break the lock and open the door by any means to reach the child, but the child releases his dog, which attacks them, so they leave him and continue on. At that moment, memories from the past flash through Joe's mind. He sees the Asian girl in these memories and tells her he remembers her and that he knew her. He asks her to tell him who he is and what's happening to them, but she calms him down and lets him rest. Afterwards, the Asian girl takes Insan through the forest to lead him to the woman in the cabin, but when they arrive, they discover that the woman has escaped. Insan goes searching for her in the forest and finds a pair of glasses on the ground. When he puts them on, he realizes they are his. Insan also recalls some memories from the past, remembering that he participated in experiments and treated many people, though he doesn't remember everything. Meanwhile, the Asian girl returns to the house, and when Joe sees her, he tells her he wants to know who he is and exactly what happened, but she is afraid of him and locks herself in the room. While Lucas is trying to reach the girl, he discovers a secret underground room filled with medical equipment, human brains for experiments, computers, and cameras. This turns out to be the control room. Meanwhile, Insan keeps searching in the forest until he finds an abandoned building. Inside, he finds a woman chained with her dead daughter. She attacks him as soon as she sees him, calling him a criminal, but he escapes quickly before she can reach him. He notices people who look like zombies approaching him, all holding their heads and screaming. He checks the surveillance camera and sees a video where Joe explains that it's day 96 of the experiment, and that the experiment has succeeded because they tested the vaccine on a large number of people, including Lucas and the Asian girl. He explains that a side effect of the experiment is temporary memory loss and fainting, and when someone wakes up, they don't remember anything, but their memory gradually returns over time. At this point, Joe and Sharon return home, but they find Lucas holding a rifle, threatening Joe, saying he is responsible for everything that happened and for the deaths caused by the experiments. He gives Sharon the camera, and she watches the video, learning everything that happened. She asks Joe to explain it to her, but he says he doesn't remember anything. Lucas attacks him, hitting him on the head, and Joe faints. After a while, Joe wakes up and finds himself being dragged through the forest and thrown into the pit with the corpses. He returns home quickly, where Sharon and the Asian girl are alone. He asks them for the car keys. They notice he's not himself, and he tells them he needs to rest a bit. Lucas acts violently, hitting Sharon and trying to assault the Asian girl, but Sharon arrives with a rifle and shoots at him. He runs away and jumps out a window. Joe spends a very difficult time among the corpses, struggling to breathe, when suddenly the Asian girl appears and throws him a rope, pulling him out of the pit. He asks her to go back to the house and wait there while he searches for the child he saw earlier. He returns to the large building and discovers that it's a quarantine hospital. He finds a map of the area and a specific route they need to follow. At that moment, memories from the past return to Joe as he talks to someone and gives them a box, saying they need to protect it because it's their last chance. Suddenly, he hears a sound coming from the adjacent room and enters, finding 2 injured people. The car keys fall from him, and one of them grabs the keys and swallows them. She tries to kill him, but he quickly shoots her with the rifle, takes the keys, and continues on the path. He encounters the small child and his mother, both tied up inside a car. The grandmother pulls out a rifle and threatens Joe, warning him not to come near them because everything that happened was caused by the injection she gave them. Joe tries to understand exactly what she did, but she gets into the car and speeds away. At that moment, Joe finds a small box filled with many injections. He remembers that there was a dangerous virus that spread through the brain, turning anyone infected into a zombie, which would eventually kill them. The injections in the box were vaccines intended for military personnel to protect them from the deadly virus. Joe discovers a body inside a car, and upon searching it, he finds an ID card with the name, Jihad, and a photo of him with Sharon during a time when they had been hit by the car. He is exhausted and barely able to control himself. Joe quickly tries to inject him with the vaccine before the virus kills him, but Lucas attacks him and chokes him. Joe grabs a rock and strikes him on the head. At that moment, Lucas says he feels fire inside his head and that his brain is burning from the inside. Before he dies, he recalls memories from the past, showing that he and everyone in the house were friends, and they thank Joe for saving their lives before the virus could take over and kill them. At the same time, San fully regains his memory and remembers everything that happened. He runs quickly back to the house to look for Joe and finds Sharon there alone. Suddenly, the infected try to break into the house and attack them, but they manage to eliminate them one by one. Meanwhile, Joe is driving, trying to get to the house as fast as possible to give them the vaccine and save them. He remembers moments from the past when everything went out of control, the virus spread everywhere, and it killed everyone. He remembers warning his friends to inject themselves with the vaccine as quickly as possible. Before he can reach the house, one of the infected throws him into the pit among the corpses, and he loses consciousness. It becomes day 18, and Sharon and San are still fighting off the infected, keeping them away, and making their way into the house. Joe keeps running to reach them and help, explaining everything that has happened. At that moment, helicopters arrive, and they continue eliminating the infected. San remembers the date, day 18, and recalls that they were supposed to come and rescue them that day. They leave the house and tell the soldiers that they are still alive, asking them not to kill any of their friends because they are uninfected. Unfortunately, the soldiers kill San anyway to ensure they leave no infected behind. Joe and Sharon see the soldiers killing San, become terrified, and run. The Asian girl manages to hide from them. While Joe and Sharon are running, a woman appears with a knife and attacks the Asian girl. Joe shoots her with a rifle, killing her. To make sure the army doesn't kill them, everyone throws themselves into the pit and injects themselves with the vaccine to protect against the virus. Sharon writes a note to Joe so that when they wake up, they can read it and understand everything. We see the army throwing people's bodies into the pit, unaware of Joe and Sharon's presence. After a short time, Joe wakes up but doesn't remember anything due to the vaccine's effects. The note Sharon wrote is lost among the corpses, and he doesn't notice it. The Asian girl comes and throws him a rope, pulling him out of the pit and saving him from death. At that moment, we hear Sharon's voice in the background reading her message. She explains that they were a group of scientists fighting a deadly virus that infects humans, turns them into zombies, and kills them. Sharon emphasizes in her message that the key lies with the Asian girl, who has a natural immunity to the virus. The most important thing is to protect her life because she is humanity's only hope to survive the coming outbreak. In the end, we see Joe and the Asian girl standing on the edge of a massive pit filled with thousands of corpses. This marks the end of the movie. If you enjoyed the film, don't forget to like and subscribe.